Hello, my lovelies. This is Tabby here from tabbies.ca, and tonight I have Madeline from, hopefully I say it right, Macabre in the Making.
Yeah, that's correct.
That is awesome. So, can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
So I kind of just do whatever I feel like. There's no business goal. I started doing this after I had my baby, trying to reclaim a little bit of who I was before I was a single mom. And I went to art school most of my life, but I only got good at colored pencil, and I wanted to try a little bit of everything and get into that. And then I picked my name, Macabre in the Making, just because I like weird and spooky stuff. So that's basically what I do, but in different mediums.
I definitely like your name. Like, it's unique, um, and I like the way it kind of embodies what you're doing too.
Thank you.
So, you have a whole bunch of different things you do.
Right.
So there's everything from polymer clay and resin to like graphite
Yes.
artwork. Sorry, I'm still getting off my cold, so my voice is a little off.
You're just fine.
So what is your favorite of all these mediums?
My favorite would have to be colored pencil because that's what I spent 6 years learning how to use, and I think it's what I'm best at, what I'm most confident in. And that's actually why I don't post a whole lot of colored pencils. I'm trying to learn everything else. Everything else that you see posted on my page, it's all brand new to me. So it's all beginner stuff.
Well, I love the way that you've been making videos. So like you've been practicing with the resin,
Yeah.
and I love those videos that you keep posting. It kind of makes it more real for everyone because being an artist isn't about being perfect. It's kind of about embracing what you learn as you go.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I agree. I was like, every art page is so perfectionist nowadays because everyone's trying to sell something. I mean, I do sell stuff, but only as like whatever turns out okay, and I don't need it. Bless you.
Thank you.
But it's always I'm learning. I watch everybody else's art videos to learn, so I assume that the people who do follow me also same kind of deal.
I love I love experimenting and learning for me. And watching your videos is really nice because like it's resin is something I've always wanted to try. And I keep saying, okay, I'm gonna get stuff and I'm gonna do it and try. And I guess I haven't really been brave enough to just kind of grab it and try. I do keep looking at it every time I go to the art store,
Just do it.
but it's fun to see other people do it too because it makes it more real.
I get that. I actually hated the idea of resin for like 2 years. Like when everybody was in lockdown and everyone got into resin and was making the exact same thing, it actually like bothered me a lot. And that's also another reason why I only want to make weird stuff. Not only because I like it, but I'm sick of seeing the same stuff over and over again. And I think that's why more people should get into resin and do what they actually want to create. So, full send, you should do it if you really, really want to that badly. If worst comes to worst, it sucks and you have to start over. That's it, you know?
That's true. And sometimes it's hard to get over yourself um,
Yeah.
to be brave enough to do that.
I understand. You'll get there when
Um,
you're ready.
yeah, I've had the luxury of learning quite a bit of different things. Um, I relish the kind of learning part. I know
Mm-hmm.
online you say that you're self-taught with everything.
Yeah.
Um, so is this you like trial and error, or are you looking up like tutorials online?
It's mostly trial and error. Um, Tutorials was how I learned colored pencil, tutorials in different art classes I took in like high school. Everything else so far has been mostly trial and error because I can watch all the tutorials in the world and I will retain very little of it. I'm a very hands-on person, so
Okay,
there's been a lot of stuff that's been thrown away.
but all of that is just like helps you create something better in the future, though.
Oh, absolutely. I regret none of it. Would repeat over and over again.
One of the things that comes to mind when you're talking about having things not quite work out are those bees that I seen you had on Facebook.
Ah, yeah, the bees. That one I was
Those,
a little disappointed in.
but even though they didn't come out the way you wanted to, they were still really unique.
Yes, thank you. The person I gave that necklace to actually really loved it. You can see the bee a lot better in person than I was able to capture on camera.
I just like how he's in there with the flowers. Like you're building a kind of world in the resin.
Yes, I actually have a piece I'm working on right now that has a piece of honeycomb in it that I found as well.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I
And
can't wait for it to be done.
and where do you find this stuff? Because you have all kinds of unique stuff. There's ones with bones,
Mhm.
and there's like the bugs that are kind of dying, like have died.
Right. Nothing I find is ever killed for art. It is all stuff I either found and cleaned myself because I want to be a taxidermist. Like, that's another skill I'm working on. Or I used to work at a butcher shop and I've traded or bought stuff from them or my friends who hunt, or just it's always stuff that other people had that I've either traded for or stuff I found like myself out in nature.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
Um, you'll have to excuse me. I guess I'm going to cough a few times today. I thought I was a little
Hey.
a little bit um, healthier than I am. But the taxidermy thing is actually kind of funny because my dad is a taxidermist, so I grew up with that.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, I did my first fish when I was 12, and I did my first squirrel when I was 13.
That's really cool. I've only done bugs and I've made wet specimens. Like, I've got a few of those. And I have like beetles that I'll clean bones with, but I've never articulated them and I've never stuffed an animal.
It's the hardest part is cleaning off all of the fat before you condition the hide.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work, but I used to love doing it, and I did it with my dad, right? So it's like
Right.
it was kind of like a bonding thing for me and my dad. So it was very special to me.
That sounds like it. That's an experience I'm jealous of.
It's yeah, like it was growing up, people sometimes would be a little turned off by it, but they don't understand that you're kind of immoralized, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like you're making it permanent.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's like one of the most respectful things you can do to preserve a life if you're doing it respectfully and properly. I get the off putting thing, but my entire brand is off putting, so what can you do?
I don't know if your entire brand's off-putting. I actually like what you're doing. I think it's some of it's a little like definitely macabre, which is the perfect descriptor.
Right.
Um, it's what you're doing is still kind of connected to real life. Like it's all like the bugs and the bones and everything, they're all real. It's all like wildlife.
Right.
So one of the things I wanted to mention was, let me see where the pendulum board.
Okay.
So I know you put the hash tags on there for pagan and stuff like that. They look like Zodiac ones to me.
Yes, these ones are Zodiac. I have more that I'm working on in different patterns. I've just been having an issue with my resin that's not getting them out on the timeline I was expected. Um, yeah, current design. Oh my gosh, fumbling my words.
That's
Um,
okay.
yes, the current ones that are about like this big, little coaster size, are the Zodiac patterns.
Um, so like is the Zodiac like the horoscopes and stuff, is that something personal to you?
No, not particularly. It used to be at a really like in my formative teenage years. I've kind of moved past the zodiacs in particular since I started working in the psychiatric field, but I'm still very spiritually connected, just not necessarily in the zodiac part of paganism.
So a lot of people don't know, but when I was in high school, I practiced Wicca.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of unique. Not a lot of people know what it is, um,
Right.
but it's basically like an ancient pre-Christian type of spirituality. Um, so I rushed right into the different things you're making. Generally, I asked a bunch of questions first, but I've been so curious about a lot of your work, particularly those bees, because I love bees.
Hmm.
Um, but so you did tell us a little bit about what you do, the fact that you're doing the polymer clay and resin, the drawing. So you went to art school most of your life. When did you decide that that's really what you wanted to do?
Let's see. My daughter was born 7 months ago, so about 3 or 4 months ago. I was actually in school to be double majoring actually in zoology and bioveterinary medicine before I got pregnant.
Biometric, bio.
Oh, veterinary medicine.
So that's to be a veterinarian, right?
Yes,
Um, so you must really love animals then.
I do. Like, I love them more alive, I promise.
No, I understand that. Like I said, my dad was a taxidermist, and we really did love animals. Like I grew up on a farm. It was more about honoring the animal.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said earlier, very spiritually connected. Like, I don't know how much you've dived into my profile and stuff, but everything, like, macabre, yes, but it's also very spiritually inclined as well. Like, everything is done respectfully, peacefully, one with nature kind of deal.
And I did catch it. I know that that's one of the things that you do advertise when you are on your Etsy store. That's one of the
Mhm.
big things that you do mention. And it's really important. Um,
Yeah, it is to me.
oh yeah, for sure. Because um it's not you being disrespectful. It's you honoring them essentially. I don't know how to explain it better than that.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm glad you recognize that. I appreciate it.
Is it possible you could turn the volume down just a pinch? I think that might be the feedback.
Yeah, does that help? Need it more down?
Um, no, I think we're good. I just have
Okay.
a very loud voice, I guess. It's,
No one has ever told me that before. Thank you.
no, that I have a loud voice. I think that's what was coming through,
Mhm.
possibly.
That could be.
I'm not sure. Um, so like, how did you want to be a taxidermist? When did that happen?
I always. Okay, let me back up. So I started going to school to be a veterinarian when I was 15 or 16. Like, I started it in high school.
Okay.
And that's about the same time. Like, you're doing all this work and dissections on dead animals. And I thought it was so fascinating that I wanted to turn it into art. And not like your run in the mill taxidermy. It had to be like whimsical and weird, what I do. And so I thought maybe I can do both. And then, vet school just took over my entire life. And now that I no longer want to go to vet school, why not pursue the option that got put on the back burner?
No, for sure. You have to be true to yourself in whatever you do.
Right.
It's it's they talk about growing up and becoming something, but it's more about finding out what you want and
Yeah,
trying to
for
chase
sure.
that. So that's kind of exciting. You've had this dream since you were mid-teens.
Right.
So I guess so you've been creating your whole life basically because you were
Yes.
drawing right from like did you start in high school with the art or is
So
it
I
elementary?
went to an elementary school called Syracuse Arts Academy from the time I was in kindergarten until I graduated at ninth grade.
Oh, I'm so jelly. I would love that.
It
That
was
must have been so much.
fantastic. Fantastic. I'm so blessed I got that experience. And then when I was in high school, I took every single art class available. And then I did college credit, like community college credit arts as well in my free time.
That's so cool. Like
Thank you.
I don't know if we have any elementary art schools here in Canada, but we have this in New Brunswick. We have the New Brunswick College of Craft and Design,
Oh, that's cool.
and I really want to go sometime. Like it's kind of on my bucket list, but I do have a little guy who isn't in school yet, so it's back further on the back burner,
Yeah,
but it's
I get
something that
that
I do want to do.
100%.
Um, so with you being a creator your whole life, when did you decide that you wanted to try to take this a step further and make it a business? You said when your daughter was born?
Oh, the business part was an accident, actually. I just started making stuff, and my friends started buying it, and I was like, oh, well, okay, well, let's see if strangers want to buy it too, and a little bit. So I haven't, that's one of my New Year's resolution is to start actually presenting myself as a business and seeing where that takes me.
So that's really exciting. You
Thank
know, a
you.
lot of the best art businesses that I've seen, and I haven't been doing this a very long, but I've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of the true creators and stuff just kind of come into the business like accidentally, like they almost fall into it.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Like, even my accidental stuff that I've been creating, people are like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Can I have it? I'm like, okay.
But it's good to get it out because I know as a creator myself, my house starts to fill with stuff I've made and
Yeah, for
stuff I've
sure. I
done.
don't I don't want all of it. Like the first ones of all my stuff, I'm trying still to get rid of actually now that like my first earrings I ever made, I kept. And that's what actually sparked the business was a pair of earrings I made. I made one out of coral chunks and one out of opossum jaws, and I posted it on my personal page and people went crazy for it.
So what did they look like? Were they carved or just clean?
Just clean. So the jaws, I got them from I want to say a Skulls Unlimited subscription, like their subscription box.
Okay.
Um, because I had one of those at one point, and I accidentally dropped one of the skulls, and so the jaws fractured and separated, but they were still intact. And so I drilled holes in them and painted them with acrylic paints. And like I have gauged ears, so there's not a whole lot of like dangly earrings for them. And so I made my
Okay.
own dangly earrings for them. And people are like, "Oh, that's so cool!" And there for a minute, like earrings I made out of jawbones from various animals became really popular. And then my
That's really
first ever ones were coral chunks, just that I got at the crystal store. That came drilled,
okay.
and I put beads on them and made them earrings.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
I know when I started making jewelry out of polymer clay, earrings was one of the first things that I made for jewelry. That and keychains. And I love like even now I still wear my polymer clay earrings. I
Yeah,
have
I
a
like
bunch
that
that I
they're so
love.
lightweight.
Yeah, it's they're really a great material for earrings.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been loving them so far.
I seen the bee with the honeycomb one you made.
Yes.
I love that one. I think it's really cool.
Thank you.
And sculpting is kind of like, it's in my heart. I love sculpting. Um, so like everything's kind of macabre and stuff,
Hmm.
but what inspires you? Is it just your love of nature?
Yeah, most of the time, just whatever pops into my head is usually that kind of stuff. I live in a very rural area, a rural part of Utah. Like, I live in the foothills of the mountains. Anywhere I go, I can hike up to. Like, where I live is very famous for its trails and mountain peaks, and I live between two lakes as well, so I can find inspiration on just a 20-minute walk.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Oh, it's amazing.
I love being outside and walking and stuff. Like I love so here in New Brunswick we have a lot of hills. We're at it's like the at the very beginning of the foothills for the Appalachians.
Hmm.
So like you could follow it into the Appalachians in the States, but here there's a ton of hills. So me and my husband do a lot of hiking in the summers, in the spring and fall, and I love that. Like the lakes and stuff. The way you talk about it sounds really exciting to me.
Yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorite places about, or favorite things about here.
Um, so like, because if you don't know that you draw, when you go to your Etsy store, there's not a lot of drawn things in there,
I didn't think anybody would be interested in my drawn things.
but they're gorgeous.
Well, thank you.
Like you have the one there, of the girl. Oh, I wish I had saved it now so I could tell you what it was called. But that picture was gorgeous. And
Was
then
it
you have
Wednesday
the
Adams by chance?
no, it was before Wednesday. Although I did see all those watercolor paintings of Wednesday, and that was awesome. Like that was one of the reels you had posted,
Yes.
and I love seeing the processes. Like I love when artists do kind of behind the scenes kind of
Hmm.
stuff, and you get a chance to really see how they work.
Well, thank you. I'm trying to remember. If it's a girl, it might have been one of the self portraits I did in high school.
Well, I did see the one self-portrait you did that um half the picture had like peace and love and stuff on it.
Yeah,
Like
that one
I
was
thought
I
that
did
was,
in high school.
but I think the girl I was thinking of was one of your sketchbooks.
Okay, yeah, I'd have to go back and check. I don't recall off the top of my head.
I've seen a lot of your stuff I've been following for the last little while, so I kind of went back and stuff and um yeah, like I love art, so this is kind of the perfect thing for me because I love seeing what people do. Like the one Wonder Woman picture you drew, where the Wonder Woman is looking dead on.
Hmm.
I love the strength of character in the face. Like it's still very feminine, but really a strong character.
Thank you.
And you did one with two skulls. I think it was on black paper with colored pencils, and that was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, that one's one of my favorites as well.
Do you like dinosaurs?
Yeah, I love dinosaurs.
Yeah, I love dinosaurs too. And I have a 4-year-old that's obsessed with them, so it's kind of nice because right now I'm actually making a stuffy dinosaur. I don't know how well it's gonna work. I have no pattern or anything,
Hmm.
and I'm making it for him out of a costume that he outgrew. And I'm making him. I have a quilt already. I was supposed to quilt it for his birthday and then Christmas, but I will get around to quilting it. But it's a big dinosaur quilt for him, so it's kind of nice to have a little guy. I can kind of
Oh, for
do
sure.
dinosaur stuff.
You'll have to post that on the page so everyone can see it.
I will when I finally get it done. I've been working the last 2 months, well, 2.5 months. It's been crazy around my house lately. Um, so one question I always try to ask everybody is what makes you unique? And with you, I mean, you're unique just by the nature of what you're doing, but what do you think makes you unique?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm very different for the area I live in. I don't know if like my kind of stuff is more common over where you're at, or even just outside of Utah. Because Utah is a very interesting state. But I don't know a whole lot of people who do the breast milk jewelry, so I think that's probably my one different thing everywhere. Because you can't sell it on Etsy. You can't sell it almost anywhere unless someone comes looking for you.
Really?
Really? So that was what I was hoping to make a lot more of an impression with, and then it turned out like you can't advertise it for in like a lot of Facebook groups. You can't sell it on Etsy. You can't sell it at a lot of vendors because it's a body, like a bodily fluid.
Really?
Yeah,
I
so
I
that's it's a hard one to advertise, but it's one I would love to do for a lot more people.
because I that was one of the first things that attracted me to your profile was those breast milk rings. Like they're so unique. Like I've had 3 children now, and I've breastfed every one of my children, and there's a very special connection
Mm-hmm.
between you and your child, right?
Right.
And it's almost immortalized in these little. I don't know if you make them out of resin.
Yeah, so what happens is you dehydrate the milk so it's like the same consistency of the mica powder, however you say it, that you'd use in resin or like glitter. And then you
Okay.
can just stir it in like any other inclusion.
Oh, I didn't realize it would be that easy. I thought that maybe you had to add it in like a liquid or
The
something.
hard part is dehydrating it if you don't have a dehydrator.
Oh, so you have to actually like the way they would make sun-dried tomatoes.
Yeah,
You would
you get
put it
to
in
do
like
it
that.
simmering on your stove, or my grandmother bought a freeze dryer when I was pregnant, and my entire freezer stash she dehydrated for me so you could use it like formula and wouldn't take up
Oh,
my entire freezer. And so I had that on hand, but I used a bag of my own to learn how to do it on the stove so I could do it for other people.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it
That's
was a really
really
fun
cool.
experience for sure.
So have you learned like have you made stuff like that for other people now?
I've not. I've had a few inquiries, but none that have like solidified.
It's hard sometimes as a handmade artist, sometimes people ask you about things and you go through and you price it out for them and then they're like, "Yeah, I don't want to spend that kind of money."
Right. Right.
And like it's frustrating, especially if you're making higher priced items. It's sometimes it's a hard hurdle to get around.
Yeah, for sure. And especially like here, it's not a very common avenue. Well, breast milk jewelry in general is very common. Like when people compliment me on my ring and ask what stone it is, because it kind of looks like opal, because I've mixed glitter into it. I said, "Thank you. It's my breast milk," and everyone's always like, "Excuse me." So,
Excuse me. That's
you're
really
fine.
funny. I was trying not to cough, but it was just um so you were saying you can't sell this on Etsy because it's considered a bodily fluid.
Hmm.
How did you find out about that? Like, did you try posting it, get in trouble?
Yeah,
Oh no.
it's all right.
They just sent you a message or something and you were like, okay, and
It was like, don't post anything like this again, or you lose your shop. I was like, okay, because you only get so many like shop violations. I want to say it's 3. I don't actually know, but
oh,
we're getting rid of all of it. And so I was very scared posting like curios again, but those are fine, no problem, as long as they're legally obtained. So I'm not too worried
here,
about that.
which ones?
Um, anything with bones in it.
Oh, okay. But they're okay as long as they were ethically collected.
Uh huh.
Man, that's got to be hard to learn the rules for Etsy. Like I know sometimes I struggle with the rules for Etsy. It's
Yeah, they're complicated.
and they're not always the most straightforward.
No, not at all. Well, roadkill laws vary from state to state. Like dead animal laws vary from state to state. So I always like, hey, if you want to message me for something, it's on you if it's not okay in your state. Because in my state, it's okay here.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Because you would have to put a disclaimer or something, right?
Uh huh.
I never even thought about that. I don't know why I wouldn't think about that. Like I know growing up, every time my dad would get something roadkill, we'd have to like if it was so like we had screech owls that got hit by a car,
Hmm.
and my dad had to talk to the Department of Natural Resources and show
Right.
them the police report that said that they had been hit because
Hmm.
they were not endangered. Um,
Every bird in the US you have to do that for because of the Migratory Bird Act. I assume that extends to Canada as well.
really? Well, maybe that's what it was, but I thought it was because they had not endangered, but like, or maybe it was endangered, but they were a species at risk or something that they had to look after. But
Hmm.
that's crazy. Every bird.
I think there's only like starlings and a certain species of dove, and then of course like your own chickens that you don't have to, like your own captive birds.
Okay. Wow, that's it goes to show you, you don't realize about the laws. And I know in Canada, the laws sometimes differ province, and they can, but there's not usually like a huge difference that I've noticed per se. But in the
I've not
States,
noticed a huge one except for with like animals that you hunt for sport, like deer. Deer can get a little complicated, but it's all on my end because I'm the one who's finding them. The people I sell them to don't need to worry about it.
oh, okay. So do you have to provide proof when you send them their items?
No, I just have to like get a permit before I get dead animals off the road.
Oh, okay. That seems so weird. I know
Yeah,
it sounds weird to say, but I've collected a lot of roadkill.
no, I understand.
It's so many times my dad was like, we'd stop and grab something. The one time I remember distinctly, we were on our way home from church, and so we're all in these nice dresses, me and my sister, with our little fur coat things, and they have our little pretty shoes on, and Dad's like, "Move over," and throw these. I forget what they were, but it was a dead animal into the back seat, one on my side and one on my sister's side, and my mom was not very keen on the experience.
Been there, done that. I remember one time I left a deer, like half a deer, in my trunk, like just in a tote, right? Like the tote full of water, and I forgot about it for like 2 weeks. That I can still smell that. That was a bad time.
Oh, oh my goodness, yeah. How would you get that out of your car?
I regretted a lot of decisions that day because it was already in the tote, but the tote was in water, like had water in it to get all the grossness off of it. And so I was trying to, thankfully it had a lid, so I was trying really, really hard not to spill it, and I didn't, but I still had to dump it out, and that was a bad day.
Yeah, that would be because you probably couldn't use it anymore after that.
No, I got to still use the bones, but it just stunk really bad.
Yeah, that would be hard. It would wouldn't be the best experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, my car smelled like rotting flesh for like a year. It was bad.
Oh, you just when people get in, you can be like, "Oh, it's a zombie apocalypse."
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of which, actually, it made me think of the makeup you've done, like the special effects makeup. The one in particular I'm thinking of is the Christmas ornament.
Oh, yeah, you have been following me for a minute. Yeah, that was two, two, 3 Christmases ago, 2019, I think. I don't have a reason for that, just that I want to learn how to do SFX makeup.
Yeah, but do we need a reason to do what we do?
No, not particularly. That one I
So,
believe I used a tutorial for.
how did you get into that?
I was really into makeup in general. Like that was the year that like glam makeup was super popular, and so I was trying to do that but with a twist. And then I don't
Okay.
even know. I've always liked zombies and like cinema effects and stuff, so it probably just popped up in one of my recommended videos, and I was like, I could try that, but instead of a candy cane, I'm using a Christmas ornament.
And what a great idea. Like Christmas ornaments are I don't know about you, but every time I buy a glass Christmas ornament, they just get broke. And
See, this one
somebody
was
steps on
plastic.
it
I
or
had to cut it, but it was a good time. I had a lot of fun. I wore that out in public. I wore it to meet like my aunt's boyfriend, family event to Christmas. It was a lot of fun.
that's not the X part started then, right? That's a,
No, not my fault.
that was actually pretty cool though. I would totally go out with that. Like if I had this big Christmas ornament sticking out of my face with the makeup, like it looked realistic. It was really a good job.
Thank you. I had a lot of
So,
fun. I want to do more stuff like that.
oh yeah, for sure. And you did the yesterday you posted one where it was like the red nose and
Oh
the
yeah, the
kind of
scary
it
clown.
type. Yeah.
Same phase of life, just a few months later.
So have you done any of those recently, or I know that you
No,
probably not a lot of time with a 7-month-old.
no, I haven't. A lot of the stuff I post is throwbacks just because I work 80 to 90 hours a week and or a pay period, my bad, 2 weeks. And then have a 7-month-old on top of that, and like a single mom on top of that. So it just we'll get there when we get there. I'll love to do stuff like that again when she's more independent.
Kudos to you because, like, as a mom, it's a hard gig. And when you're working full time, it's a really hard gig.
Yeah, for sure.
To try to create anything outside of those hours, I mean, good on you for
Well, thank
continuing to
you.
do this because you're making time for it.
Thank you.
So I know in the new year, you said that you wanted to do a little more of, it was the resin, right?
Yeah.
So do you have any big plans? And you wanted to take it to more of like a business.
I just bought some a curing like a little resin oven. Hopefully that helps with my weather issues because Utah is very dry. So when it snows here, like the bump in humidity messes with my resin. So it won't
Oh,
cure. So I got something to help with that. But I just got molds. They should be here any day now. And they're like a series for earrings that are all of the new series Wednesday that I'm really hoping will be
oh,
popular.
yeah. No, and everybody loves the Addams family.
Right.
So one of the earrings that you had posted, which I thought were really cute, were the alien ones.
Yes, the alien ones. I like those. I've got some currently sitting in my new little resin oven to see if they work.
Okay. Well, you have to let us know because I'm really excited about that resin
Okay.
oven. I know you had gotten a whole bunch of stuff you had to throw out because it didn't set correctly.
Yeah, a ton of stuff. Like everything that was in that reel didn't set.
Oh, and like, how did you know you were having issues with it?
Trying multiple times. Like I went through an entire gallon of resin trying to troubleshoot what was going on, and nothing was working. I tried like putting it all in like a homemade little hot box, and that helped. That helped the best. So that's what I think was going on. Because I tried weighing out my resin, like cups with measuring stuff, like everything I had normally done, because this is the first time I had messed up and nothing was going right at all. And that was the only thing I could think of was it finally snowed. Since it snowed, nothing has gone right.
Because it changed the humidity level in the air.
Yeah, so we got a whole like little oven thing that with trays in it, and it's supposed to just help it cure faster, and it's like a little hot box for it.
Oh, perfect.
Hopefully it
Oh,
works.
I hope that works because I know you had a lot in that reel. There was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, and half of it was already paid for, so that I feel really bad about that.
Oh, it's frustrating when you do commission work and things don't work so right.
Hmm.
Like a lot of the stuff I do is commission. Like a lot of the stuff I make and sell, I don't even have on Facebook. It's a gift, so I don't post it and
Hmm.
whatever it happens to be, it just doesn't end up making it onto my Facebook page. But there's a lot of stress when it comes to commissions.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you want to do a good job and this person is expecting something and sometimes it doesn't look the right way or move the same way that your other artwork does.
Right. Thankfully, she's been very patient and understanding.
That's good. That's really good. It is, you are making it yourself. And there is something to be said about that creative process.
Right.
Um, so at some point in time, every meeting, I'm like, I'm gonna say something else, and then it wipes clean. I get like this, I don't know, whiteboard effect, I guess, where it's almost like an eraser, just whatever I was gonna say is gone. Um, oh, I was gonna talk about your D&D stuff. So you have the D&D mold, and you've been making these the magnets and the earrings
Hmm.
with the 20 dice.
Yes.
I have my oldest son is a D&D fanatic,
Hmm.
and I find that really intriguing because I know him, he would love that. Like if he had pierced ears, he would wear those earrings.
They can be made in clip-ons.
Well, you'd probably prefer a fridge magnet, but they are.
No,
It's
I get you. I get you. I want to make dice soon. I just have to buy the mold to make actual dice, and we'll get there slowly but surely.
so if you make them out of resin, are they going to be durable? Like I said, it's something I've always wanted to do, but I don't know a lot about it. So like,
Yeah, resin hardens like hard as rock. I've yet to chip any. Granted, I'm pretty gentle with it still, but I have my own like resin stuff that I've got from other people that's yet to break all these years later.
well, you'll have to let me know when you get a dice mold for
Or
sure,
my
because that.
stepsister, I got her resin dice for Christmas, and she she said she likes them, so I'll assume they're good.
Okay. I know 2 years ago we got him a huge set. I think it was 5 different sets of dice in it. But
Neat.
they're they're so neat. Like even if you don't play D&D, like just
Mhm.
the way that the dice look and everything, it's unique.
Yeah, they're so fascinating. They're good fidgets. Like if you like to play with your hands, like I do, to roll around in there, it's a good texture.
Oh, I never even thought like the D20s would be perfect because
Mhm.
they have so many edges.
Yeah.
And I do like to I am kind of like a fidget cube person.
Yeah, me too.
I have one of those rocks that you rub your thumb on. I love
Mhm.
them.
Yeah, they're nice.
Um,
I've got drawers full of stuff like that.
yeah. The oh, so when we were talking about your the resins, like the bee and the resin, and you were talking about what made that so difficult? Like what were the challenges of trying to put the bee in there? Like do you put the resin in and then put the stuff in, or do you put it in a mold and then pour the resin in?
I put it in the mold and poured the resin. The thing that made it difficult was it was too big, so I tried to let it like cure and then pour another one with nothing in it and then squish them together.
Okay.
That's where it got tricky because then I got bubbles and weird seam lines.
Okay.
There was no way, so I couldn't see the bubbles because of the angle, so there's no way for me to get them out till it was too late.
How do you like do you just like poke it to get the bubbles out?
Yeah, you can poke them or use a heat gun.
Oh,
I'm scared
okay.
of heat guns though. I think they're gonna melt my mold, so I'd hand poke all my bubbles at this point in time.
No, I can imagine that would be really worrisome. Like those heat guns get really hot,
Yeah,
and the
they're
molds are probably just silicone, right?
right.
What were you gonna say? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I forgot. Probably just that I was scared because like the heat guns get as hot as torches, so it's scary.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I don't like the whole burn your fingers kind of thing. Like I've ran my hand over with the iron a few times. I still have fingerprints, but with all the hot gluing, you wouldn't think so. Oh,
I don't know how to come back. I do not know.
is there a camera button?
There we go. Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Cool. Sorry, I don't use Zoom.
That's okay. Um, this one's actually Skype, but I've been thinking about changing them. I just haven't gotten around. Like, I had been working full time as a seasonal breeder, and it's just been crazy around here with both me and my husband working full time, and the 4-year-old. It's been insane. So I haven't got a chance to actually audition new video call recorders, but
Yeah, that can be frustrating.
yeah, well, it's something I'm going to work on in the new year, hopefully. But it's all in due time, right?
Right.
Just like with the business. So, are you going to look at doing markets and stuff, or are you just going to ramp up your online presence?
I think I'd do a lot better in markets than online. The problem is building an inventory because they've been popping up so fast. Like, I'm getting offered to do all this stuff, but my inventory is basically non existent. So it's finding the time to build that before I feel comfortable with it.
I understand that. It's it's hard to build an inventory,
Yeah.
and especially you're working full time and raising a little one. It's not easy.
And we'll get there.
Oh yeah, for sure. You just have to believe it and keep working.
We'll get there. When it's time for us to be there, we'll be there.
For sure. So I do want to ask because I ask everyone this, and it's always funny to hear what people say because everyone says something a little different,
Okay.
and everyone has the best ideas. So, what would you say to anyone who was um, like just starting out in the type of art you're doing? Like if they just start out with the colored pencils or resin or clay, like what advice would you give to an emerging artist?
You're never gonna learn if you don't just do it. You can watch all the videos, read all the papers, go to all the classes, but unless your hands are on the medium and you are actively trying, it don't even matter if it's good. In fact, it's even better if it starts out not good and you work your way up because that's how you learn is through failure, not through success, in my opinion. So just do it. Sorry, Nike, don't sue me.
I agree 100% because getting your hands dirty um, makes you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know about you, but when I make my art, there's a lot of emotion in there.
Sorry, you were quiet that time around. Can you repeat that?
So I know when I make my art, there's a lot of emotion around it.
Oh, absolutely.
So like when you get your hands in there and you start making, I feel like it brings those emotions out.
I agree.
So I really appreciate you being here with me. I love what you're doing. It's very unique, and it's not something that everybody's done. Like I have seen a few of the breast milk things, but not very much. I think I've seen three people doing it, including you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm always scouring the internet for artists. So,
Yeah, can I
um,
ask you a question?
of
You,
course,
who are always scouring the internet for artists, how did you find me in my barely existence?
I think I might have found you in the Home for Peculiar Artists.
Okay.
I've got a couple of Facebook groups that I follow, and so like people post their products, like one or two products. So then I'll follow through the links and check out their page
Mm-hmm.
or whatever they happen to have. And I'm pretty sure I found you through the Home for Peculiar Artists.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in that group, so
So it's probably that group
yeah.
then. Because I
Cool.
know what I first seen was your breast milk ring. So maybe it was that. But I went to your page and I was going through and I was like, this girl's pretty unique. Like,
Oh, thank you.
I like people that have their own kind of flair.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know if you feel like you've developed your style now in regards to the art you make.
I don't. If it all kind of looks like a style, that's coincidental because I kind of just do whatever pops in the mind.
And I think that's what every artist should do.
Mm-hmm.
Because the more you put yourself out there, the more you get to do, the more people get to see you, and the more you're able to do.
Absolutely.
Um, so I'm gonna wrap it up here, but I was just wondering, is there anything else you want people to know about you?
No, I think we've just about covered it all. Yeah, sorry. That's the cool thing about like new artists is there's not a lot left to mystery.
But you know what though? Everybody's full of mystery. There's still a lot more to come.
Okay,
You
well,
just don't know it yet.
I think you're probably right. Well, thank you
So
for having me and for the opportunity to collab on this podcast with you. I appreciate it a lot and I had a good time. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
well, thanks so much for coming on. And I'm so excited to see what you do in the new year. And I hope that you're able to get the stock and everything just kind of blows up in a good way for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Yeah, you as well. Sleep well, you and your little one.
Thanks.